Hello everyone, today we're going to learn how to work with word problems. So basically we're going to learn what kind of steps we have to follow to solve a word problem successfully. So as you see in the key concept, we have 4 different steps to follow. First step, read and understand. So we have to read the problem carefully, identify what you know and what you want to find out. Second step, we have to make a plan. Decide on an approach to solving the problem. Step 3 is solve the problem. Carry out your plan. Try a new approach if the first one is not successful. Then as the last step, we have to look back. Once you obtain an answer, check it is reasonable. Let's look at our first example. In the first example, we're talking about calculating the distance in the blocks. So you run in a city where the short blocks on a north-south street are 0.1 mile long. The long blocks on east-west streets are 0.15 mile long. You will run 2 long blocks east, a number of short blocks south. 2 long blocks west, then back to your starting point. You want to run 2 miles. How many short blocks should you run? So basically, so now we have to look at our steps. What was the first step? We have to read and find out what you know, what you want to find out. Let's look at it. What you know. What do you know? So let me just write it down. What we know. What you know. What do you know? Okay, let's figure out what we know. So, in a city, on north-south street are 0.1 mile, basically short block is 0.1 mile, and you will run in the distance of long block is 0.15 mile. Okay, now we wrote what we know. What else we know? You will run 2 long blocks east and a number of short blocks south. So long and south and 2 long blocks west, then back to your starting point. You want to run 2 miles. So basically we have, you will run 2 long blocks east and a number of short blocks south, and 2 long blocks west, then back to your starting point. And you want to run 2 miles. How many short blocks should you run? A number, so we don't know how many number of short blocks, and 2 long blocks. Basically, let's figure that out. So basically we are going 2 long blocks, then you're going, okay, so basically totally we run 4 long blocks, right? And a number of short and 2 long blocks, then we come back. So basically we run a number of n short blocks. Since what we make a kind of a rectangle, so we have to double our number of short blocks. So this is actually what we know. Now, what we need to find. What do you want to find? Want to find. So as we figured out at the beginning, we need to find out number of short blocks. The number of short blocks that we need to find. So basically we figure out we're done with the first step. What was the first step again? Let's go back and check. Read the problem carefully, identify what you know, what do you want to find out. So basically we are done with the first step. Now, second step, make a plan. Decide on an approach to solving the problem. So, and now we're going to have to solve the problem. In the second example is the continuous of the first example. It says solve the problem example 1 by carrying out the plan, then check your answer. So basically and we can just go with our second step. Second step says find a way. So I think we need to write an equation. And when we write an equation, we have to make that equation equal to 2, which means 2 miles. Then we can find our variable n. So let's just word out the equation. So basically what we need to do, I need to multiply the length of short block times by number of short blocks. So I can put again s dot blocks plus length of long block times number of long blocks. It's going to give us the total distance. Now let's try to write them down. Now the length of short block is 0.1 miles, and number of long blocks, so as we said, we need to do 1 time and come back another time, 2 times n. Or we can just say that exactly, right? Because asking us how many long blocks we need to run. So I can just put n instead of 2n. So times n plus length of the long block is 0.15 and the number of long block is 4 equals to 2 miles. Now we're going to solve this equation. So 0.1 times n plus 0.15 times 4 equals to 0.6 equals to 2. Now as we know that we have to subtract 0.6 from both sides to isolate our variable. Then it's going to be equal to 0.4. Then we have to divide both sides by 0.1 to isolate the number of block, n. Then answer is going to be equal to 17. My fault, 14 short blocks. So we're done with the problem. Now the last step says look back, and once you obtain an answer, check that it is reasonable. As you said, it is reasonable because when you only run 4 long blocks, you only complete 0.4 miles. 0.6 miles. When you run 0.6 miles, you have to run a lot of short blocks to complete your run to 2 miles. So it's the right answer. Now let's move to the next page. In the next page, we're going to talk about formulas. So a formula is an equation that relates 2 or more equations. You may find it helpful to use formulas in problem solving. So as you know that we have a lot of formulas in geometry and other things, in physics and other things, we have a lot of formulas. So we need to know how to apply, how to use those formulas. As you see that on the first formula, we have a temperature formula, which is conversion. It is the formula to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius degrees. And the second formula is simple interest. So total amount is equal to principal times rate times time. And distance traveled is distance equal to rate times time. Rate is actually average speed. Profit is P is equal to total value minus expenses. So these are the formulas you may need to use in any case. So just keep them in your mind and look at the example 3. So this is our last example. Then we're going to be done with our lesson. You're making a letter book cover. You need a rectangular piece of letter as shown. Find the cost of the piece if letter costs 25 cents per square inches. So basically I need to find the area of the letter cover. So letter cover. Okay. So we have to use the area formula. So what's the area formula of a rectangle? Length times width. So what's the length of that rectangle? 18. The width is equal to 11. Then the answer is equal to 198 square inches. Then each square inch is equal to 0.25 cents and $0.25, I need to multiply the total area with 0.25. So when we multiply it, it is going to be equal to, so 4, 9, it's going to be 50. So $49.50 is our answer. So today we complete our lesson, and as we usually have, we have guided practice questions. We have only 4 questions in here. You have to answer those questions and bring them to me as a homework. So I'll see you tomorrow.